Here we are live at OSP NatCon 22 from Dallas, Texas. And boy, what an edition we've got for you guys today on OSP TV. Welcome to all of our viewers. We've got, of course, the co-pilot in the navigation seat, the OG, Dustin Woods. OG, good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you, my brother.
Welcome to Texas.
Welcome back.
I know, right? Man, this is like our second home.
For a while, this was our second home. We was here once a month.
Yep. We got real acquainted with the barbecue out here.
We struck out a couple times, though.
Yeah, a couple of stomach issues. But we learned. And we have a very special guest with us today on OSP TV, all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. One of my favorite fighters. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, because he's my guy, and I genuinely love him. But he is, and his boxing accolades speak for themselves. His boxing IQ, his acumen, his whole life story, his comeback story. The former IBF super middleweight champion of the world who fought the biggest fight in 2021 on the show. Once again, this time in person, the one, the only, Caleb Sweet Hands Plant. Champ, welcome back to the show.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
The beards are matching. This is the first time I really noticed the matching beards.
I think you got to catch up a little bit.
Nah, it's not me, man. During Ramadan, I grow it out a little bit. It gets itchy once I get in that phase.
Thick.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap here. Caleb, welcome to the show. Welcome to Dallas.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you being here. This is your first time. You heard a lot about OSP. I know you've asked me about it before.
Yeah.
Now you get to see it in person. You get to see all the agents, all the owners.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Man, definitely a great turnout, great energy. A lot of great questions thus far. It seemed like a lot of highly motivated people who are eager to get out there and, get after it and become successful. So, that we're definitely like-minded, and so I'm happy to be here. And, any information I can offer or lend or, anything like that, like I said, I'm happy to do it and happy to be here.
I appreciate that. Caleb, one of the things we were talking about, and these agents, a lot of them are, in their sales force, and they go through trials and tribulations in life. They go through challenges, they go through ups, they go through downs, setbacks, successes. It's very similar to a boxer's story, but yours in particular, you set out to achieve something, and there was no plan B for you.
No, definitely not. Not a plan B. And, when anything that you're chasing after in life, especially if it's big, you're going to have to put all your marbles in one basket, if you ask me. And that's what I've done from day one. I put all my marbles in one basket. Me and my father, we set out a goal that this is what we're going to become. This is what we're going to accomplish. And, we just stuck to it. And regardless of what happened on the days, if we woke up, we had a bad day, we still went, we did our work. And then we woke up the next day and we went again and did our work. So, if you continue to do that, regardless of what pops up in your life, there's really no way for you to not become successful at it.
I think something that you said that really stands out is closing your back door. And it's really something we talk about with these guys all the time. And I think a lot of times people get confused with the word obsessed. And you're not you're not good. You're in the great elite category. And when I watch your Instagram and training, you're clearly obsessed with boxing. And to be great at something, you have to be obsessed. Where does that come from? Where do you think that came from?
I don't know. Starting out, my dad was a fighter, so it was easy for him, obviously, to open up that door to me. And then as soon as I started it, I fell in love with it as well. And just, at first it became a sanctuary for me, a place where I would get to go for a while. As soon as I got out from school till like 10, 11 o'clock at night, I would be there. And while I was there, I grew to wind up, I wanted to be somebody that other people would want to be like. Even grown men, at 14 years old, grown men looking up to me and wanting to be like me and wishing they were able to do the things I could do. And then I would leave and go home and I would go back to being a kid that, nobody wanted to be. And then every day, I got to go to that gym and be somebody and be something that I could be proud of and, work hard and push myself and have fun at the same time. And, I just became addicted to that feeling. And then it just has grown into me seeing how far that I can take it. Boxing isn't something that you can really master. But my goal is just to see how close I can get to that. And every day I wake up and I do everything possible to ensure that I can get, a step closer to that.
And how hard was that growing up when probably your friends were out not in the gym or not dedicating their time to their craft, for you to stay disciplined and stay in the gym all day to 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, I mean, there was times I wanted to hang out with my buddies, but instead I was in the gym. But for the most part, that's where I wanted to be. That's what I enjoyed doing. And, it allowed me to, I knew if I trained hard that I would make these tournaments, and then I would get to go to these big, nice hotels and, meet all my friends that I only got to see every so often. And, that was big for me. That's something that kept me motivated. And, so I could, get out. I come from a real small town, a real small city out in the country. And so for me to be able to go to these big hotels and these fancy cities and do, go to these cool tournaments and stuff, that was just so big for me. And, I just wanted to make sure that I was putting myself in the best position possible. And then, luckily I had a great father on my side who was always right there for me, pushing me. And, my father was really hard on me when I was young. And, but I'm glad that he was, because, I could have wound up like a lot of my buddies that I grew up with who, wound up in bad situations, and some even worse than that. So
that's awesome.
And for those of you that don't know and haven't had the pleasure of meeting Richie Plant, the legendary Richie Plant. By the way, off camera, I have the best Richie Plant story. We'll talk, but
I think that should be on camera.
I don't think that it should be. We'll probably get kicked off of YouTube. Yeah, we'll probably get kicked off. But Richie truly is that guy. Tell us that story about when you went to the amateurs, to the nationals, and they saw you in the brackets and you had to buy that first round.
Yeah, I would win a tournament, and then the next year we'd go, I'd be the number 1 seed because I'd won it the year before, and so I would get a bye. And then the night before the tournament would start, my dad would go to the commission and pull me as the first seed and put me as the last seed and tell the commission, if my son wants to win this tournament, he has to fight every day. My son don't get a bye. And I'd be looking at him like, man, let me get a bye. I worked hard for that. I won at it. But, I'm glad that my dad, always was trying to find ways to make things harder on me. And, my second fight, he put me in there with a multi-time national champion. My third fight, I was fighting a multi-time national champion. He really stuck my hand to the fire early and made me stay there. And, I really think that propelled me, later in my career to heights that I may not have reached if he didn't, push me so hard so early on.
I've had the pleasure, Caleb, of watching you train. I've had the pleasure of being in camp and seeing really how dedicated you are. I'm telling you, Dustin, watching Caleb Plant spar is a spectacle in itself, because he does stuff that you're not supposed to do. And the first time that I really said, man, this guy is super special, he was sparring a very well-established guy, and he threw a punch from behind his back. That's a decent shot. Like, first of all, it's not easy to land the shot, but he's boxing with him, and he dips to the right, throws a right hand behind his back, hits the guy in the head, and then the guy kind of pops up, and as soon as he pops up, Caleb goes between his legs on the other side of him and then just kind of slaps him. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I was like, and everybody just like that's just another day of Caleb Plant sparring.
Yeah.
But it's a spectacle in what you do, and I'll tell you what, Caleb, one of the things that I love about you is that's your personality. Like, everything is a little bit bigger, a little bit better, a little bit more daring, And when you say, you burned your ships, you absolutely did.
Yeah.
There was no plan B for that.
No.
But it's remarkable to watch.
Well, and I think, with boxing, there has to be a little bit of showmanship, but you have to be so good at what you do to be able to do that. And I think that's why I have so many fans.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we want to work hard, and, we want to make sure they're working harder than the guy next to us. But, I feel like that's hands down what I'm doing every time. But other than that, we also want to make sure that we're having fun with what we do. And if you're not having fun with what you do, if you're not loving what you do, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you're probably doing the wrong thing. So, I like to, put a show on and have fun and, talk my mess. And, it's just something I enjoy doing. It's something.
Nobody talks better. I'm telling you.
You did call this.
I did.
And it was weird because the media leading up to the Canelo fight was like, can Caleb promote a fight and all this? And you kept saying it, and then you stole the show. I mean, it wasn't even close.
I have no words.
For the first time ever, Caleb Plant has no words. Thank you. That's all it's to me. Listen, Caleb, in 2000... What year did we meet? 2006, 17, 18, something like that?
16, 17.
16, yeah. I was the best looking fighter in the gym, so Caleb came up and introduced himself to me. And he wanted to know who I was, because I was just killing everybody in the gym. So he wanted to know who that thunder was coming from. But anyway.
I thought he was a heavy bag standing there. So I'm like, man, what is this?
Hey, what was he like in his fighting days, though?
I don't know. His fighting, that's like 30 years ago, so I don't know. we didn't meet.
Did he have hair then?
Nah. He's still shiny. Shiny guy.
So I remember when we first talked, and you said, yeah, my name is Caleb. I'm from Tennessee, blah, blah, blah. And then you started telling me your story. And when I heard your story, man, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I started tearing up when I walked away because it resonated so much with me. And it was so, actually, Ali was just born, so it had to have been 17. It had to have been 16, 17. And you were telling me about your daughter, whose name was Alia also, and how she had passed away at 2. And my daughter, I think it was just 1 at the time. And I was like, man, this guy's story, like, I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation. And I gained utmost respect for you, at that moment. And then when I watched you work, and even now, Caleb, thank God you're very well established, financially set for life. You still outwork everybody. You still outwork everybody. What do you attribute that to?
I don't know. It's just I truly am obsessed with boxing. I'm truly obsessed with seeing how far I can take it. And, I know that, I'm not going to be able to get as far as I want if I'm not pushing as hard every day. And, all it takes is, if you work 1% harder than the guy next to you, well, if you add that up over a year, that's a big difference. And, my dad, like I said, he was really hard on me when I was young. And I think just instilling that in me at such an early age, I just felt like it was normal. Where we was at, that was normal for us. So
I manipulated you, and I'm going to tell everybody, I manipulated Caleb Plant. We were at his baby shower, and the game was you had to collect as many of these pins as you possibly could, those are clothespins. And everybody has one, and you got to try to get everybody's pin. And the way that you get them is they have to say the word baby, right? So I knew that he was too sharp for me just to say, hey, yo, Caleb, So I went up to him, and I knew there was one angle. Him and his dad, they were like shooting fish in a barrel. I went up to him, I go, hey, you guys hear AJ's got a new sparring partner in camp? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, it's Miller. What do they call him? And they both go, Big Baby. I was, thank you very much. Like, as soon as I started talking boxing, everything else turned around.
If you start talking boxing, I'm going to try and get it right.
So it was like, I knew that your obsession was there, but Caleb, it's great to have you here. Your story, I think when you hit the stage in front of all of their agents tomorrow, they're going to be able to really identify with your story. I can't wait for them to hear about the story, and I'm sure everybody that's watching already follows Caleb Plant, already big fan. Caleb, thank you again for being here. Really appreciate you having you, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. He's the man.
That's interesting. Signing off, OSP TV from NatCon 22 in Dallas, Texas, with the one, the only, Sweet Hands, Caleb Plant, and the OG. We're signing off.